Hey everybody, it's Linda, and I am going to try something I've never tried before. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to be playing some videos that I created this morning, and they're going to pretty much tell you what it's about.
Hey, it's Linda. How you doing? Listen, my sister-in-law posted something this morning, and it really hit me. She posted, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but open, closed in regard to the schools, right? Safe, unsafe, safe, unsafe. Actions speak louder than words. Are politicians and the Bill Gates of the world sending their own kids to school? And then she posted a clip of an article. I couldn't help from that post to just really hurt for her. Hurt for her, my brother, and every parent out there, not knowing how to keep their kids safe. And these times of uncertainty, we really have a problem. We really have a problem. And I mean, I have a problem. I mean, my heart hurts for every parent out there dealing with that struggle. I'm dealing with a struggle. I've got a problem. I've got a really big problem. And it's not my problem alone. It's everybody's problem. It's your problem too. And my particular one, like where its origin is not for me alone to bear. Just like my sister-in-law's problem, it's not for her alone to bear. We're all bearing these problems. I'm going to share because I really believe I need and people have to get a different perspective about things that are going on around us. And this is going to get long, so I'm going to probably have to separate it because people have a low attention span, and I'll separate it into several videos. But please don't dismiss it because it really points to something far greater than the actual story and the issue that I have a problem with. And I'm going to preface this that it was one of the points and reasons why I wrote the story that I wrote in the book recently. It's no coincidence that I haven't worked by conventional standards the last 26 years, or 28 actually, because I was whatever. But rest assured, I've been working. I've been really working hard. I've been working at the School of Hard Knocks, and then working really hard of picking myself up from that. And I have things to share that through my gaining clarity as to why I'm here and why I'm even making this video, why I wrote the book, and why I'm going to be doing a lot of things that who would have thought kind of thing. But me, not unlike Martin Luther King, I have a dream. And I have a dream as a result of the School of Hard Knocks and what I've been through. So bear with me. And at this point, you can just turn it off. Don't go to the next video because I'll go ahead and start and explain my problem in the next video. If you don't want to hear it, don't click on don't click on the next one. Thanks.
So here's the next one. I hope you're hearing me or hearing the recording. The next one is 13 minutes for those inclined to watch. I wanted to get this out as a series, like a consecutive series live. So here's the next one.
All right, well, so I said I have a problem and I wanted to share it with you. And it's going to get lengthy, and this will probably go on into several videos. For those of you that read my story, I volunteered at a group home years ago.
Black, brown, white, whatever color, religion
one of them,
you are.
Not the ones I wrote about. Another child has cerebral palsy, and outwardly it gives him difficulties walking. He recently had surgery on both feet and then had to do another surgery on the other foot. He was 2 years old when he got adopted out of the group home. He got adopted, and here we are. He's 16 years old, and this summer he ended up going back into custody. So he's back in the foster care system. Yes, even though he got adopted. The system has a lot of cracks, despite its intention. Every system has an intention of origin that's very genuine, but any system doesn't work without input from citizens and from people affected by the system. So he got adopted. Here we are 14 years later. He's 16 years old. And in addition, cerebral palsy, it's not just the outward, he can't walk well. That means, his muscles, his neurological functions are affecting his abilities in walking, the communication between muscles and nerves and all kinds of things, right? So there's a lot more than when you look at a person, he can't walk. Oh, he's disabled. Well, there's a lot more to it. And cognitive stuff. And I had occasion to, I went to the hearings, or I didn't go to the hearings. They were on Zoom because of what's going on. And I've participated in the hearings, and because I'm a foster parent, they allowed, and because I know the kid, and he was transferred to like 2 different foster homes already. He needed to be in contact with somebody he knew. So I offered, and they took me up on my providing respite for him. But it just so happened it ended up being like within a day of his most recent surgery. So I picked him up from from the hospital. Long story short, I had occasion to, we talked a lot. He spent, I don't know, 5 days, I don't remember. But he opened up to me in ways that made me see the impact, which I had already been aware of adverse childhood experiences, the impact they have, and I knew about a lot of the impact they've had in my life, right? I suffered the loss of a brother when I was 8 years old. He was 9.5. That really did change the trajectory of my life. So when this kid was sitting here telling me how he was feeling, and how he was interpreting things from his short 16 years, my heart went out to this kid. I mean, my heart had already gone out to him because the system, again, no fault of their own, right? Because it's an overburdened system, and it's got cracks, and kids fall between the cracks. The system did his adoptive mother a disservice and did him a disservice. And he ended up back in the system. All right. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit, but there've been several hearings since then, and he had gone into a residential facility for a short while before he got taken back into the system. You know, the mother, there was a lot going on and she didn't know what to do. And, you know, he ended up getting admitted. And a test was done, something called a brain map. A brain mapping was done on him because cerebral palsy and all kinds of things and, you know, like affect our brain function. So the end result was recommendations as to what could help him. I mean, he's on all kinds of medications already, right? Because that's the first line of defense in any, the conventional medical world. That's the first line of defense. Well, the recommendations are a little different to actually work on the brain, right? And try to shift some ways of it's a lot. Yeah, I mean, I can't get into the technicalities of it, but the recommendations were put forth before he even went into the system. The mother had difficulty getting those implemented because he was since discharged from the facility that would have provided it because Medicaid would not continue paying for his residency there. So we've got a medical system and we have insurance dictating how we take care of our children and how we take care of ourselves. Because, you know, I live in that world too, right? I've been healing myself slowly but surely out of pocket because conventional medicine was not doing it. It was just sustaining my illness, managing it. So it's disease control instead of healing. It's not health care. Anyway, he's been in the system since the summer. I'm sorry. Since the summer, and he has yet to get the recommended treatment from that brain mapping. Why? Because insurance companies have certain policies. They do approve some things. They don't approve other things. Long story. They needed a court order for them to even consider him to get a neuropsych evaluation, which that's the type of practitioner that supposedly will authorize this treatment. All right. So all this, I'm telling you all this because this kid's life is on the line. And he's in a system that genuinely wants to help him, but is in overcapacity. 400,000 kids are in the foster care system right now. And he's not the only one with extenuating circumstances like this, okay? But it also points to, it's not just about the foster care system. I mean, that's my passion. That's my passion because I really, really hurt for these children because I've been in their shoes. I was never a foster child, okay? I grew up in a very healthy, by conventional standards, household, right? My adverse childhood experiences had absolutely nothing to do with anybody doing anything wrong. Mine were a natural occurrence, the death of my brother, okay? And then all the different dynamics within which I was growing up. And I had adverse childhood experiences that have resulted in in the long term, because I took those into adulthood, into physical dis-ease in my body to where I literally had, chronic, whatever, debilitating illness. So what's my point here? My point, and I could go off on this even longer, and I'm not, I'm kind of raw right now because I'm really, really hurting. But this kid is in a system, and I do have an opportunity. I was asked if I could take him full time. I can't provide him, in my opinion, right now, a lot of the things I believe he needs. He has longed for a father figure. I don't have that to provide him. There's a lot of visits, doctor office visits, a lot of therapies, a lot of all kinds of things involved in raising a 16-year-old, above and beyond what it normally takes to raise a 16-year-old, right? And theoretically, I mean, I could probably put things in place and find a big brother kind of situation and find them a mentor and all that other stuff, but I would only be helping one kid. And I mean, I thank everybody that has ever stepped up to foster or adopt, because everybody is needed in this, right? But my vision is so much greater and widespread than actually taking in one child and affecting one child's life. I see things going on in the system and understand the domino effect, the ripple effect of all these different things. I believe, because I've got clarity as to why I'm here, is to let people know that we each play a very big role. And it's up to us as citizens to bring these things to our system's attention, whatever the system is. We can't stay quiet anymore. There's too much stuff going on. The systems are all in disarray. I got a text the other night about the political thing, and it's like the divisiveness cannot continue. We have to rise up. We have to unite in brotherhood and sisterhood to rectify and find people that really know what's going on and really unite to collaborate together. There is no competition here. It's co-opetition. We each care about our loved ones. We each care about the children in our lives. We each care about our own lives and the lives of future generations. But it does start with us individually. We can't sit back and rely on the authorities. We have to be part of our voices. The citizens of this country have to express their voices. And our voices cannot be stifled by corporate greed. Corporations can't stay having loud voices in our political system. These are things that have to change. But we can't change them unless we get together. We have to recognize that we're all in this together. Now, why is this kid's life, why does it matter to you? All right? Why does it matter to you?
All right, this is where my memory card ran out of space and it was time to make a shift anyway, right? So here's the next one. And if there's anybody out there that is inclined to take in a 16-year-old with cerebral palsy, preferably in the state of Georgia, but not mandatory, it is preferable. Contact me. Contact me and I'll put you in touch with his caseworker, because he really does need someplace, because they may very well end up putting him in a group home, and that's not the ideal environment for a kid.
I had to change memory cards. My the card got full. I don't know where it cut off, but why does it matter to you? Well, you know what? We all have to take part. We all have to take part. This kid's situation is just a fractal of what's going on in a larger system. It's called a fractal. Fractals are patterns. There's patterns in life. And there's a lot of these fractals taking place within society. So what's happening, let's say in this foster care system, is happening in all these systems. And what it boils down to, it's each person taking responsibility. Like, let's say for me, how can I stay silent how can I, attending these hearings, how can I not speak up and say, well, what's going on with that neuropsych evaluation? You know, how can we expedite that? The kid's got 2 years, 2 years, and then he's an adult. Okay, so why does it matter to you? Because he's going to be part of our society. And unless a lot of these issues are addressed properly, he's going to be contributing to ongoing issues that are going to just keep perpetuating. We have to nip some of these things in the bud. That's why so many communities are into providing their children the right environment within which to live, right? I mean, I grew up in a Greek community, and they had values and morals and things that they wanted to convey and impress upon their children. You don't impress upon them verbally. It's within that environment that they're instilled morals, ethics, values, integrity, discipline, accountability. These are things that a lot of kids, a lot of communities aren't conveying to children, which leads to all kinds of psychopathic inabilities in the future. Psychopathic, when relationships can't be sustained, when education can't be furthered, due to cognitive inabilities or lack of maturity or inability to handle stress. There's a lot of stress right now with kids, right? There's a lot of stress with everybody. It's raising resiliency in our children. How is that done? There are a lot of different ways, but has anybody taken a class as to how to go about raising resilient children? No, it's trial and error. We only know, the only experience we have is what our parents have taught us. But there are other ways. There are solutions to the issues that we're having. And it really takes a concerted effort. And it takes wanting to contribute to that effort. And each of us has a personal responsibility to look at ourselves and where we may have brought beliefs, limiting beliefs from our childhood, or not so healthy things from our childhood into our adulthood that are manifesting with outward behaviors that are not congruent with our values. That's one of the biggest things that's been lost here, is that I know a lot of people that have values, and yet with all this stuff that's going on, it's so beyond the realm of being able to wrap your head around it. You're trying to, you're overstimulated by all this stuff that's going on, that you lose sight of the foundational values. So like Martin Luther King said, we're all here, in pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Well, we really, I refuse to believe that the bank of justice, the way he, I'm using some of his terminology in my own context, but I refuse to believe that the bank of justice and goodness is bankrupt. This kid was issued a check and it came back insufficient funds. Think about the systems that you're involved with and you are a citizen within. You too have been given a check and it's come back with insufficient funds. That's what we're facing. And it's not going to be the corporate and political agendas that's going to get us out of this mess. It's going to take each of us to work towards gaining clarity and figuring out what aspect of what system we want to affect change in and actually do it. And before you could even do it, there's going to be some cleaning up phase. I mean, it took me quite a few years to clean my act together, to get my act together. So there's an urgency. The urgency is around us. I mean, the reminders are all over the place. Now is the time. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. We have to rise. Like Martin Luther said, we have to rise, to lift ourselves from the quicksand of injustice, the injustice of all the systems out there that are affecting our lives with endless gaps within which too many of the citizens are struggling. Each of us is struggling. And then those that are in other, like really caught up in systems, like the disability system, the unemployment system, the foster care system, they're struggling even more. So we have to rise. We have to rise from the dark and desolate valley of separation. Now is the time to build a solid foundation of brotherhood and sisterhood, to make justice a reality, because we're all God's children. And that's what it's about. We have to unite in brotherhood and sisterhood. Thank you.
I was really raw this morning. I'm still raw. But here's the last one. And this is just to speak to, this is my why. Why did I write the book or the chapter in the book? What motivated me? What is it that has me getting up in the morning saying, okay, there's work to get done? This pretty much explains it.
I listened to a YouTube video the other night, and these things come to me just very synchronistically, but it was so in line with some of the things that I was processing. And I'm going to post the link to it, but it was a video with Brene Brown. It's titled, she reveals which 4 skill sets make the best leaders. But I'm going to go to the last part of it, and then I'll tell you about other stuff. But the most daring leaders she talked about are very clear, not only about what their values are, but also what the behaviors are that support their values. And so a leader, when you listen to it, I mean, basically it's telling you that a leader is any person who holds themselves accountable for finding their potential, and also finding the potential in others, and having the courage and the guts to develop that potential. People who don't think they're leaders don't understand democracy. We all have to lead. So she was asked a question, and the answer was, we need braver leaders. And there are 4 skill sets, according to her. She did a whole study, 14 years or whatever, in the conclusion that she found when she was interviewing all these different people and stuff like that is, there's 4 skill sets that one needs to really own. the ability to rumble with vulnerability. Like when things get uncertain and hard, that you just don't tap out. That's basically what she said. I'm kind of quoting her. Not tap out of hard conversations. We don't tap out of feedback, either giving it or receiving it. But not coming from a place, I'm deviating from her, but not coming from a place of ego, coming from a place of what's in the best interest of all involved. And there's a process by which one can learn these skills. There are processes to come out of the ego. What is the ego? The ego is the automatic behavior, the automatic emotions that pop up. So the other thing is we really learn how to live into our values, really our behaviors to be in alignment with our values. The most daring leader, she says, talked about the values, but that their behaviors were in support of the values, that these leaders have operationalized it into behaviors that they hold themselves accountable for. And then the third thing she said is building trust, talking explicitly about trust. Because when there's no trust, there's like no ability to have like functional teams. And no good work could come out of that. And there's a lot of mistrust right now, isn't there? We've got to build that within our family units, within our extended social circles, communities, and allow that to ripple out. That is something that we can do on an individual basis to create ripple effects. And then the fourth thing that she said is you've got to learn how to reset after failure. After failure, disappointment, setbacks, you have to learn how to reset. Get back up when you fall, because that's part of being brave. And that's something a lot of people have not learned to do. I've been on my knees a lot in my life, and I kept getting up. I know a lot of people that haven't gotten up, and they're really, really in the pits. The suicide rates right now in our nation are increasing because people have not learned the skills. And those are among the many things that I want to impart. The process by which to maximize your individual potential so that you could be in that leadership position, get in the driver's seat of your life, and go in the same direction as other people doing the same thing to affect change for the greater good. It's going to take a while, yep. We are a society who wants to just take a pill and heal. Pills don't work. There is no instant healing. It takes work, individual work. But there's a lot of liberation to be had, because when you do heal individually, culturally, societally, it's very liberating. So as far as on an individual basis, anyone that has suffered with physiological pain knows that when you don't have that pain, when I woke up from my hip replacement and I stood up for the first time in the hospital and I didn't feel that pain, whoa, I didn't know how good it feels not to be in pain. I forgot. Same thing with a damn migraine. You have a migraine for days. The morning you wake up without a migraine, you say, oh, wow, that feels great. That is the feeling I want people to live in. And I'm going to bust my butt to try to affect that change in as many people as I can, and in the foster care system for these kids, to circumvent them from having all that accumulative pain that they're destined for unless there's intervention. And the intervention will come from citizens like myself working together to affect that change. So at this point, all I could say is stay tuned, sign up on my website, even though right now it's set up about the book launch. That's going to be changing. But sign up on my website to stay updated about my journey to impact lives for the greater good. All right, thanks. Bye.
So that concludes what I recorded this morning. And when I talk about when pain is alleviated and you wake up in the morning without the pain, and that it's liberating, when it happens in relation to other things going on in your environment and stuff, you don't wake up with that stress level, the intensity of it. It's not paralyzing, which oftentimes it has been, and it is for people nowadays. So I'd love to hear your feedback on any portion of this. I'll post the individual links. Feel free to post under each respective one if you want. I'd like to hear back from people. I'm not the only one sitting here saying all this stuff, okay, or thinking all this stuff. Maybe I'm the only one putting videos out about it, right? But it gets to a point where we really have to have some conversations that matter. The ability to look at other perspectives and to take other perspectives into consideration when we make choices as to how we behave and react to things. Instead of reacting, we respond. Those are the tools, those are the skills that society as a whole has to enhance in order to reach the point of brotherhood and sisterhood, in order to reach that point of co-opetition. So, okay, that's it. I'd love to hear back from you. If you think whatever comes to mind, I'd like to hear it. And I'd like to hear from you. And I'd like you to, sign up at my site to stay in touch, because I will be unrolling. I will be writing another book, but that's going to be a little while. But I'm going to be rolling out an online course to start off sometime in January or February, to really get started on certain things to increase people's capacity to handle stress, to increase resilience, to get up out of those really tough and challenging times, or to improve aspects of one's life that if everything else is feeling fine and there's just that one that could use a little more improvement or something like that, it's going to be a course that will help move people in the right direction, with forward momentum. We can't stay complacent. That's one thing we really did all learn, isn't it? All right. Ciao for now, guys. Love you all.